In 2023, a maintenance worker in Houston, Texas, opened a storage unit that was 3 months behind on rent. Instead of old furniture, he found a cot with clean sheets, canned food on a shelf, and a pile of paperback novels. A 62-year-old veteran had been living in that steel box for almost a year, and nobody had any idea. He was not alone. Thousands of Americans are doing the exact same thing right now. What they have figured out about survival could save your life, but the mistakes some of them make can kill you in a single night. Number 1. The temperature game. A metal storage unit in the summer can reach over 140 degrees Fahrenheit inside. In the winter, depending on where you are, it can drop well below freezing. These units were designed to store boxes and old furniture, not to shelter a human body. So the very first thing people figure out is how to manage temperature without electricity. The trick starts with the concrete floor. Concrete holds temperature. During hot months, people lay directly on the cool concrete slab in the early morning hours because the floor absorbs the overnight chill and holds it until around noon. In winter, they do the opposite. They build a raised sleeping platform using wooden pallets or stacked milk crates to get their body off the freezing concrete. Insulation comes from blankets hung on the walls with adhesive hooks. Some people line the interior with reflective emergency blankets, the cheap ones you can buy at any camping supply store for a couple of dollars. These bounce radiant heat back during winter and reflect exterior heat away during summer. One woman in Phoenix described her setup as basically turning her storage unit into a thermos. She survived 3 Arizona summers without ever being discovered, and she credited those $2 emergency blankets with keeping her alive. But knowing how to handle the temperature inside your unit means nothing if you cannot get in and out without being noticed. Number 2. The 24-hour access strategy. Not every storage facility offers round-the-clock access, and the ones that do still have cameras at the gate, timestamps on entry logs, and sometimes even a manager who lives on site. So people who live in these units treat access like a military operation. The golden window is between 10 at night and 5 in the morning. That is when staff are gone, other customers have left, and the only monitoring happening is through security cameras that most budget facilities barely check. People learn the exact camera angles by walking the property during normal business hours, pretending to visit their unit. They figure out which hallways have blind spots and which entry doors are monitored. Shift changes are another key detail. If the facility has overnight security, that guard usually does a walkthrough at the start of their shift and then sits in the office for the rest of the night. People time their arrival and departure around that first walkthrough. They wait in their car in the parking lot, watching for the guard's flashlight to pass their row, and then they slip in quietly. The ones who last the longest are the ones who never come and go at the same time 2 days in a row. Patterns get noticed, randomness does not. One man in Georgia described keeping a small notebook where he logged his entry and exit times each day and made sure he never repeated the same window within the same week. It sounds paranoid until you realize the alternative is losing the only shelter you have. So they can survive the heat, and they can get in and out without being caught. But there is a harder problem that trips up almost everyone who tries this. Number 3. Water and sanitation. This is the part that surprises people the most, because it seems like the hardest problem to solve. You have no running water, no toilet, and no shower. And yet, people manage to stay clean, hydrated, and healthy for months, and sometimes years. Water comes in through gallon jugs, usually filled at gas station fountains, public parks, or church water stations. One man in Oklahoma described keeping a rotation of 12-gallon jugs at all times, filling 4 per day at different locations, so he was never seen filling up at the same place twice. Sanitation is handled through a combination of gym memberships and truck stop shower passes. A basic gym membership at a national chain costs around $10 to $15 a month, and gives you access to showers, restrooms, and sometimes laundry facilities. Truck stops sell individual shower passes for around $12 to $15, and some offer loyalty programs that bring the cost down significantly. These two resources alone handle almost every hygiene need. For the toilet situation, people use 5-gallon bucket systems lined with heavy-duty trash bags and a scoop of cat litter after each use. The bags get sealed and disposed of in dumpsters at gas stations or commercial buildings. It sounds rough, and it is. But people make it work without leaving any trace inside their unit. That covers how people stay alive and clean inside a storage unit. But none of it matters if the facility figures out what you are doing. Number 4. The look like a customer camouflage. The number one rule for surviving long-term in a storage unit is simple. Never look like you live there. Every single person who has done this successfully says the same thing. You have to look like a customer every time you walk through that gate. That means keeping boxes in your car. Visible boxes. The kind that make it look like you are loading or unloading every time you show up. Some people carry a clipboard or a folder with papers because nothing says I belong here more than looking like you are doing inventory. Clothing matters too. People wear clean, everyday clothes. A jacket, jeans, sneakers. Nothing that screams homelessness. One woman in Florida described keeping a separate outfit in a garment bag inside her unit that she called her gate clothes. She would change before leaving every morning and change back when she returned at night. Arrival patterns matter just as much. Showing up at 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday with a hand truck and 3 boxes at a self-storage facility? Nobody looks twice. Showing up at midnight with a sleeping bag over your shoulder? That gets you evicted before sunrise. Now, most people assume these individuals are completely isolated. But what happens inside larger storage facilities is something almost nobody outside this world would expect. Number 5. Community and silent neighbor agreements. In larger storage facilities, especially the ones with hundreds of units, there is sometimes more than one person living there. And these people find each other. It usually starts with small signs. A faint light under a roll-up door at 2 in the morning. The sound of a radio playing low behind a metal gate. The smell of coffee coming from a row of storage units at dawn. Once 2 people realize they are both doing the same thing, an unspoken agreement forms. You do not talk about it. You do not acknowledge it to anyone outside. And you watch each other's backs. This quiet community becomes a survival network. If one person sees a facility manager doing an unexpected walkthrough, they find a way to signal the others. A text message, a knock pattern, sometimes just leaving a specific item outside their door as a warning. One veteran in Colorado described a system where 3 people living in the same row used a small magnetic hook on the outside of their unit door. Hook on the left side meant all clear. Hook on the right side meant stay quiet, someone is around. These networks are also about safety. People living alone in storage facilities are vulnerable to theft, assault, and exploitation. Having even one other person who knows you are there and checks on you can be the difference between a close call and a tragedy. That system of silent cooperation is one of the most resourceful things you will hear about in this entire video. But there is a problem that even the best survival network cannot solve for you. Number 6. The mail and address problem. One of the biggest obstacles to getting back on your feet while living in a storage unit is not having a mailing address. You cannot apply for jobs without one. You cannot receive government benefits, open a bank account, or even renew your driver's license in most states without a physical address on file. People solve this in a few ways. The most common is renting a P.O. box at the post office, which starts at around $20 for 3 months depending on your location. Some homeless shelters and churches offer mail receiving services where you can use their address for official correspondence. A few cities have programs specifically designed for people experiencing homelessness that provide a legitimate mailing address tied to a social services office. The veterans who do this often use VA medical facility addresses for their benefits paperwork, since the VA allows it in certain situations. This one workaround alone has helped thousands of people maintain access to healthcare, pension checks, and disability payments while they figure out their next step. Number 7. Food storage without electricity. And then there is the final challenge, the one that requires the most discipline of all. You cannot plug in a refrigerator inside a storage unit. There are no electrical outlets, and even if there were, the power draw would trigger an alert at any modern facility. So food storage becomes a carefully planned system built entirely around shelf-stable supplies. Canned goods are the foundation. People build small shelving units out of milk crates or scrap wood and organize their food using a rotation method. Oldest in front, newest in back, just like a grocery store. Dry goods like rice, oatmeal, peanut butter, crackers, and trail mix fill in the gaps. For anything that needs to stay cool, people use insulated coolers with frozen water bottles swapped out daily. You fill the bottles at a gas station fountain, freeze them at a friend's house or a day shelter, and rotate them through the cooler every 24 hours. One woman described running a cooler system like this for 8 months straight, keeping fresh fruit, cheese, and sandwich meat cold enough to eat safely. The people who have lived this way talk about food storage the same way a backpacker talks about packing a bag. Every ounce matters. Every item has a purpose, and nothing gets wasted. Expired food is not just a health risk, it is a smell risk that can give away your entire setup inside a metal storage unit. So people check dates religiously and donate what they cannot eat to food banks, or leave it at church drop-off bins before it turns. Some people also rely on community meals at shelters, churches, and veteran service organizations. They eat their main meal of the day outside the unit and only keep snacks and essentials inside. This reduces food waste, cuts smells, and saves money all at once. It is a system built on discipline, and the people who stick with it make it work far longer than you would expect. If you have been watching this and thinking about how much these people have figured out about living on almost nothing, you might want to check out something I put together. It is called the Veterans Blueprint. And despite the name, it is not just for veterans. It is a free guide packed with strategies for stretching your budget, cutting expenses most people do not even realize they are paying, and building a financial safety net that actually holds up. The research started with veterans, but the strategies work for anyone who wants to keep more of their money and spend smarter. The link is in the description below this video. It takes 2 seconds, and it is completely free. Now, here is where things get serious. Because everything you just heard about surviving inside a storage unit only works if you avoid 5 specific mistakes that have killed people. Deadly mistake number 1: running a heater, a generator, or any fuel-burning device inside the unit. This is the mistake that kills more people than all the others combined. A storage unit is essentially a sealed metal box with one opening, the roll-up door. When that door is closed, there is almost no ventilation. Running a propane heater, a gas-powered generator, or even a small charcoal grill inside that space fills it with carbon monoxide in minutes. Carbon monoxide is odorless and colorless. You do not smell it. You do not see it. You just get sleepy, then confused, and then you do not wake up. Fire departments across the country have responded to storage unit calls where people were found dead with a small heater still running next to their cot. One case in Tennessee involved a woman who had been living safely in her unit for over a year. She bought a portable propane heater during an unexpected cold snap in January and did not survive the night. If you take one thing from this entire video, make it this: never burn anything inside a sealed storage unit. Not for heat, not for cooking, and not for any reason. But carbon monoxide is not the only way people lose everything. Sometimes the danger comes from the people around them. Deadly mistake number 2. Telling the wrong people. The moment you tell someone you are living in a storage unit, you lose control of that information. And the wrong person finding out can end everything in a single phone call. Telling a friend who tells another friend who mentions it at work can lead the facility manager straight to your door. But beyond eviction, there is a darker risk. People who know you are living alone in an isolated location with no security beyond a padlock can exploit that information. Theft is common. Intimidation happens. And in some cases, people have been physically assaulted after someone they trusted revealed their location. The people who survive long-term in this situation share one common trait. They keep their situation private, not out of shame, but out of self-preservation. Even if nobody knows you are there, though, there are signs that can give you away without you even realizing it. Deadly mistake number 3. Leaving visible signs of habitation. Light leaking out from under a storage unit door at night. Condensation forming on the metal door on a cold morning. The smell of food or coffee drifting down the hallway of a storage facility. Any one of these signs will get you caught. Facility managers are trained to watch for these indicators. Some facilities even use thermal imaging cameras during routine inspections to detect heat signatures inside units. A unit that reads 5 to 10 degrees warmer than the units around it triggers an immediate inspection. The people who avoid detection use blackout curtains behind the door, battery-powered fans to circulate air and reduce condensation, and they never cook inside the unit. Everything that could produce a smell, whether it is food, toiletries, or cleaning products, gets used somewhere else. Those precautions keep you hidden, but there is a danger most people never think about, and it has nothing to do with being discovered. Deadly mistake number 4. Ignoring ventilation. Even without burning fuel inside, a sealed storage unit poses a suffocation risk over long periods. Your body consumes oxygen and produces carbon dioxide with every breath. In a small, sealed metal box, oxygen levels can drop to dangerous levels over the course of a single night, especially in smaller 5 by 10 units. People who understand this crack their roll-up door slightly, even just an inch or two, to allow passive airflow. Some install small battery-powered fans near the gap to pull fresh air in. Others drill small ventilation holes in the rear wall of the unit and cover them with mesh to keep insects out, though this risks detection if the facility ever inspects the walls. The symptoms of low oxygen are subtle and dangerous: headaches, dizziness, confusion, and eventually unconsciousness. By the time you realize something is wrong, you may not have the clarity to do anything about it. A paramedic in California described responding to a call where a man was found disoriented and barely conscious inside a sealed 5 by 10 storage unit on a summer night. He had not burned anything, he had simply closed the door tight to avoid detection and fallen asleep in a space that did not have enough air to sustain him through the night. He survived, but only because a security guard heard him through the wall during a late walkthrough. And that leads to the most terrifying mistake of all. Deadly mistake number 5. Having no exit plan. Some storage facilities use automatic locking systems on their roll-up doors that can only be opened from the outside. If the power goes out, if the mechanism jams, or if someone places a lock on your door from the outside, you are trapped inside a metal box with no phone signal and no way to call for help. Medical emergencies are the other side of this problem. If you have a heart attack, a fall, or a severe allergic reaction inside a storage unit at 3 in the morning, nobody is coming to check on you. There is no neighbor to hear you shout through soundproofed metal walls. The people who plan for this keep a charged cell phone with them at all times. Even if it is a prepaid phone with no active plan, because emergency calls to 911 still go through on any device with a charged battery. They keep basic tools like a pry bar or bolt cutters inside the unit. Some arrange a daily check-in system with a trusted person, where if they do not send a text by a certain time, that person knows to come look for them. One woman described taping a whistle to the inside of the door frame so she could signal for help if she ever became injured or trapped. It cost her 50 cents at a dollar store, and she said it was the best money she ever spent on peace of mind. The real question most people never ask is not how someone ends up living in a storage unit. It is how many of them are out there right now, in your city, inside the storage facility you drive past on your way to work, surviving in ways that most of us will never see and never think about, and whether the systems we have in place are actually designed to help them get out, or just designed to make sure we never have to look. Now you know the 7 strategies that keep people alive in storage units, and the 5 mistakes that get them killed. Next week, I am covering the places people are living that are even more hidden than storage facilities. Subscribe so you do not miss it.